I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with African discipline, very swift and swift and severe.
Swift is funny.
You might feel it.
Yeah, exactly.
Swift and severe.
I think it was LaMelo actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the brothers.
One of the Ball brothers. We played against Chino Hills and got absolutely destroyed. Like, it was not even close.
If you're practicing tennis, then I can't imagine you do very good in basketball.
Yeah. My sister, she kind of followed her own path, but she's very, very smart. Honestly, I think she's smarter than me.
Okay.
And then obviously myself,
He said that.
That's
like,
crazy. That she's even smarter
Who's
than
smarter
me.
than me?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Changeover Podcast. This is the Weekly Grind, and today we have a special guest. We have ITA All-American and University of Kentucky alum, Alafia Ayeni. Alafia, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Alafia is currently ranked around 4-6 in the ATP singles rankings, and I think you just begun playing on the Pro Tour. Right? You were in school not too long ago?
Yeah, that's right. I just finished at Kentucky, and I've been traveling on tour since then, actually, every week.
Okay. What's your thoughts on Laval so far?
Laval, it's nicer than I thought. To be honest, I thought it was going to be like some, like city kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but I didn't realize it was actually kind of the suburb of Montreal. So it's, all my teammates are here, so I can't talk too much like smack about it.
But you were saying that what's it called? You didn't prepare properly with the housing, so now you have to stay at a hotel, and you could have stayed with one of the teammates and saved some money.
Yeah, no, that's poor planning on my part.
Close team.
I thought I was gonna play Chicago, the Challenger, and I would have gotten in, but at the last minute, because I was still 12 out.
Yo, I think you gotta hold the mic closer to it.
Sorry. Oh, my bad. So I was supposed to play Chicago, and I was at the last minute because I was still like 12 out, so I was like, all right, it's kind of a risk to go there, so I decided to come here kind of last minute.
Okay.
I didn't do any of the tennis Uno stuff. Don't tell the ITF, but
Me neither.
You didn't do it either?
No.
But I don't even know what's the real purpose for the tennis Uno
Just
stuff.
credentials, I think.
Yeah, but I like it so far though. It's nice here. We're staying at the tournament hotel because we couldn't find anywhere else to stay, so maybe a little bit more expensive trip for us. But they have transportation back and forth to the club and stuff, and the tournament seems like it's well run. Like, it looks cool at the courts. I like it.
Yeah, I mean they treat this actually. This is probably the closest that I've seen in terms of a futures to a challenger. Because they have everything is set up the same way as it would be in a challenger. They've got the players area. They even set up a nice little gym in the area they're over there.
Yeah.
Like, they have some bikes and stuff over there, right? Like free water, they have free juice and stuff, free food. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, and they have lines judges. Like, not only do they have like chair umpires, they also got the lines people for quality stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty unheard of. I don't think I've ever played a futures that had that. So
Yeah, we talked about that a few weeks ago in Indiana at the 15K, because one of the guys didn't play many futures, and he was saying that he couldn't believe that he's playing qualies and there's like no refs, no scoreboards on the courts. It's like just a bunch of people just out there playing matches. Yeah. But it's nice. I like it so far. You think so too?
Yeah, I mean, the weather hasn't been great, but it's nice. The courts are good. The staff, the people who are doing the tournament seem very nice. Like, everybody's very helpful. Yeah. I haven't had any issues with anybody yet, so it's been good.
Yeah, I like it
enjoying
so far. So yeah, Alafia, let's start, I guess. Tell us a little bit about your junior career. So, coming up, like, how'd you start tennis, and what was the influences that you had in your tennis career, like as a kid?
Yeah, for sure. So, growing up, I don't know if y'all noticed, but my dad is African. So that removes a lot of choice from the equation. So I grew up. I was a basketball player.
Okay.
That was my first sport. And then when I turned, I think it was like 7 or 8. There was one day where they didn't have basketball practice. My dad, being my dad, he was like, "You got to get some sort of practice in." My sister played tennis at the time, and so he took us to practice together. Even though I didn't know how to play, I've never played tennis before.
How old were you at this time?
I was like 7,
okay,
7.5, something like that.
Okay.
And then the tennis coach saw me picking up the racket, playing around. She was like convinced that I was gonna be like the next, I don't know, Nadal or something like that, even though I was righty. So she offered to give me free tennis lessons for like a month. And my dad, you know, being African, he was like, well, let me think. Do I keep paying for basketball, or do I get like free lessons over here? And
Easy choice.
Yeah. So I started playing tennis, and I still played basketball, obviously for fun and stuff. And I even played on the JV team in high school.
Okay.
We played against Chino Hills. We played. There was a game. I remember my freshman year. We played one time against LaMelo. No, I think it was LaMelo. No, was it Melo?
Lonzo?
No, it wasn't Lonzo because he was much older. I think it was LaMelo actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the brothers.
One of the Ball brothers. We played against Chino Hills and got absolutely destroyed. Like, it was not even close.
If you're practicing tennis, then I can't imagine you do very good in basketball.
Yeah, no. I mean, I feel like I was good at that time just because I was much taller than everyone else. But then they caught up to me, so it was kind of tough. But yeah, anyway, so that's how I started playing tennis, and then I really wanted to play basketball. Like, you know, I wanted to pursue it, but I did make a final of like the Winter Nationals or something, and then I was like, all right, I guess I gotta do this tennis thing.
Yeah.
I don't really have a choice anymore.
Okay, and then you have, so Justin mentioned to me earlier that you do a lot of interesting things, like you're interested in music as well, and
That's right.
yeah. And but how did you end up at Ivy League? So what was the decision to make? Because I was doing some research before, and I saw, like we said, like you were, I guess now we talk about basketball, you're interested in music a little bit. Wasn't your dad, didn't he do another sport? Like, wasn't your dad involved in another sport as well?
So my dad was an Olympic discus thrower.
Okay.
And he also did football. He played on the reserve team for the Cowboys for a year.
Okay.
Back in, I think it was 94.
Where's he from?
He's from Nigeria.
Okay.
But he went to school in North Texas.
Okay.
So that's kind of, we went over there, played for a year, got cleated, had to get surgery, and then went up to North Cal, to Santa Clara. That's where he met my mom.
Okay.
And that's, you know, that's kind of how I came about. But he never wanted me to play.
Something like that.
Yeah. You know, Crane came over, you know. But no, he never wanted me to play football. My brother played football.
Okay.
But my moms would never let me play.
Okay.
Because I would have been either a wide receiver or a quarterback. And there was a guy, I remember this guy, Nick Keltner. You guys don't know him for anything, but I remember this guy, Nick Keltner. He was the QB in high school for football, and he played. Yeah, that's exactly where I would have played, because I had a decent arm, you know, good build, like not too muscular, not too skinny. You know what I mean? Pretty fast, you know, kind of shifty in the pocket and everything. And he tore his ACL. From, you know, wrong sack. The kids that back then, they didn't have any good form. They didn't have good form on tackles. They didn't have good form on sacks. Like,
so this is what the parents were concerned about, your body.
So they were concerned about that. So that's why I never played. But he was in discus throw, and he was in football for a while.
What was your childhood like? Like, how were your days set up? Because I know I've seen you playing the piano on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to get good at. And then I know having African parents, they must be tough on you with school as well.
Oh, big time.
So like,
big
what
time.
was a day like in your life?
So are we talking? When are we talking though?
I don't know. Like any time. Like,
well,
how stressful was it, or how active were you? How busy were you?
I think we both know how stressful. But nah. So basically, when I was growing up, we prioritized, like, you know, my dad would always tell me, if you're gonna do something, try and be the best at it. You know. So we would do like in the morning before school. Actually, I was homeschooled until high school, so we would just go and train pretty much all day, and then
tennis.
Play tennis all day. At night, my mom, she was a sophomore. I mean, I guess she still is a software engineer. So she would help me out with math. I was very good at math back when I was a kid, and so she would help me out with schoolwork and stuff, and they would make sure that I was not only finished, but I had to at least be 2 weeks ahead of everyone else.
No way.
Curriculum, yeah. And on top of that, my dad would assign us essays. He would assign us books to read.
Outside of school?
Yeah, and to read. He would assign us books, and then he would have us write essays about those books. We would discuss them. And, he had this. I remember he had this little blue box. It's like super old box. I'm pretty sure it's still in our house somewhere. He had this old box full of like random words, like random kind of like sesquipedalian words. You know what I mean?
No.
And
You know what that means?
What do you mean by that?
that was actually one of those words. Sesquipedalian. It
Spell
means
that.
like, you know.
Spell it.
Nah. Trying to embarrass me on the internet.
You see this guy?
I didn't go to Cornell.
No, it means, you know, unnecessarily wordy.
That's
or,
what
you
it
know,
sound
flowery
like.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean?
I knew
And-
that.
Yeah. So, you would have a box of these, and every day we would have to learn one new word.
Mhm.
So that's why I feel like I have a very decent vocabulary
Yeah, you
now
must,
because of
yeah.
that, and it did help a lot. But in the moment, you know, like I just want to be a kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was just thinking, like, man, like when am I gonna get to hang out with my friends? But no, my dad was very he was very disciplined with us. He
Okay.
you know, me, my sister, my brother went to Harvard. My sister, she kind of followed her own path, but she's very, very smart. Honestly, I think she's smarter than me.
Okay.
And then obviously myself, you know.
He said that.
That's
like,
crazy. That she's even smarter
who's
than
smarter
me.
than me?
The
Oh,
does
no.
that still the childhood, does that still impact you today? Like is that I guess, did you learn a lot from that time, like about discipline, about like how much time it takes to be good at something and how you're supposed to attack these problems?
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, having a dad like my dad and a mom like my mom, really, that combination was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because even though, you know, obviously you lose out on a lot of the, like, I guess, softer moments. Like I didn't date anyone until I was in college. You know,
Okay.
I didn't have any sleepovers. We didn't really eat out. We didn't really go out a lot. Maybe like once in a blue moon for my birthday or something. You know what I mean? But that life of like extreme discipline, I think it helped a lot in my formative years, because now I can kind of manage that on my own, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like now that I'm on tour, I have to be disciplined because it's
Yeah.
my job.
Exactly.
And it's, you know, if you're coming from a place where you grew up and you kind of were allowed to do whatever you want, it can be a little bit tougher sometimes. And I've seen, you know, I know I've seen like other people, I'm not gonna name names and nothing, but
You should name him.
No.
Name him. Come on.
I've seen people, you know, confide in me that they're struggling, you
Yeah.
know, in terms of, you know, like, let's say even something as simple as going to like a player party or something like that, or, you know, you lose in the first round and you're like, all right, you lost on Sunday, and they're like, all right, well, let's go out. You know what I mean? And you got to say no. And even though you're not even in the tournament, you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's just, it's the small things that I truly believe the small things add up over time. So.
Did you have a phase like after you got out of, I guess, the environment with your parents? You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, was it long or like?
It's still going on right now.
No.
They gonna watch this too.
Yeah, I don't know. My parents are gonna see this one.
So I think maybe your last year in juniors, I think I played against you in Portugal.
Yes, you did.
And
I remember that match.
yeah,
Like
so
6-0 in the third or something.
yeah. I think the first set, I played a decent first set, and I think he just missed a bunch of balls in the first set. And then the second set, he played unbelievable. Like I couldn't touch a ball. Like he was hitting like running, jumping forehands, making all this noise, doing crazy stuff. And then third set, I think I don't know if he tanked, but he wasn't there. Like
mentally.
yeah, it was done. But yeah, I feel like your father was different than a lot of other parents. I felt like, because after the match, he came to me and told me that after you calmed down, he wanted me to go and talk to you about the match and tell you what you could do better, which I didn't do.
Yep.
But I thought like it might have been tough for you, I think, but he was definitely very invested in your success for sure. That was obvious to me.
Yeah.
So that's just a little story I had when I played against you there.
He had a different experience playing against me. I just remember we played in Houston at the Challenger.
That's
the big
right.
Challenger.
Yeah, I remember that.
This
too.
one they changed the Challenger to just 4 people.
Oh, the qualities was 4
qualified.
people.
Yeah, and I don't remember if I got a wild card or if I was the last one in, but I remember being super nervous. I got destroyed like 2-2.
Yeah, that was it.
And that's
and it was like
a lot of
super windy.
points.
Yeah.
No, but you get like what, 5 points for qualifying too?
Yeah.
At the time it was 5 points. It was a lot.
Actually, no, you didn't get any points for qualifying at that time. They could, because it was a draw of 4, you get 0 points for qualifying, but you get a ton of points in the main draw.
Okay.
And it was a draw of 48 back then. So
Yeah, it's
they
true.
had a bigger main draw and a smaller qualifying
It's true.
draw.
It's true.
So you grew up super disciplined, right?
Yeah.
And your father seemed like a tough father,
Oh, yeah.
but your on-court temperament is nothing like what that sounds like.
No,
Like
nothing at all.
from juniors, first time I ever saw you play might have been like in Edwardsville or something. I saw you playing in the future,
Yep.
and from
Like
then it
Ryan
was like,
Williams.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So, and when we played, it was very up and down with the focus. So like,
Sure.
why was that? And then also, how did your father handle that? Because I feel like that would be very against what he's about.
No, it was.
So
I did. So, tennis and I've always had a very interesting relationship with tennis because on the one hand, it's something that to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter of playing. And it wasn't necessarily like what I would call my first choice as a kid, It's not like I found the sport and I loved it so much and I just like had to play it, you know what I mean? Like it's a very different story.
Yeah.
And so when I was younger, I kind of resented tennis, to be honest. It wasn't like, I don't know. It was something that was taking me away from my friends. It was something that was taking up most of my time. And it was something that was preventing me from doing something that I actually really liked, So I was like, well, I don't like this sport at all. I didn't really want to be there sometimes, you know what I mean? Like even in juniors, until I started playing like the junior slams, I really wasn't convinced about tennis at all.
Like convinced about that it's fun or convinced that you can be really good?
Both.
Okay.
Both. But on the flip side of it was that, my dad being who he is, there's not a lot of room for disrespect, especially as a kid. So the tennis court was really the only place that I could, kind of
free up,
act out, like, be my own person or whatever. I thought I was being independent and I was being different and like that sort of stuff. And maybe I was, I don't know, but like, but it definitely didn't help me on the court. You're right. I still struggle with that sometimes because it's easy to when you come from the place that I guess like that I've come from in terms of my relationship with the sport. It's easy for some days are very difficult where you're like, you don't like it, to be honest. You don't like it at all. And you don't want to be there. And sometimes that's during a match. And you know what I mean?
Not the best time for that to happen.
Yeah. Like if it's in practice and you have a terrible practice and you're like, all right, that's a terrible practice. I can just go and do like a ton of fitness or, run a couple miles and like, I'll be tired, but I'll be at least I got something in, And during a match, if you're playing bad, you really have to get your stuff. Can we curse on here?
if you want to.
You gotta get your shit together, man. Like, otherwise you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
You are gonna lose. You're gonna be sent home.
That's true.
So that's kind of why I was a little bit strange that he didn't like it at all. And to be honest, this is where I kind of differ with him in how I would have handled it. Because for him it was just, I'm sure you're familiar with African discipline, very swift and swift and severe.
Swift is funny.
You might feel it.
Exactly.
Swift and severe.
So it's just I at the time obviously I was a kid, so I wasn't necessarily as mature as I am now, but I didn't feel like the punishment fit the crime a lot of the times, and it just led to a kind of a cycle of more of that because I was like, this is not fair. I can't. I'm a good kid outside the court. I'm a good. I'm being treated like I'm a criminal. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here?
For I think it's important now that we kind of take a little bit of a pause. So for the people who, not that we have a huge audience, but for the audience who don't know who you are, why don't you explain to them what you mean with like I guess the way you play and how you are on court and how does that compare to like what they would perceive as a regular tennis player?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was how do I put this? A menace to society. I had these goggles on, like big goggles, just the strap all the way around.
The dreads.
The dreads. They were rec spec shades. Like the those ones that they turn into sunglasses when you go outside. Yeah. So I was there with my sunglasses, my sun goggles. I don't know.
Rec spec.
So I don't know why I thought that was because you actually had something with the eyes. I thought it was like a.
No, it is. I have contacts now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you could have had contacts then.
This is maturity.
It's all part of the evolution. But no, it was tough for me, and I went out on the court. I was screaming a lot. I was yelling a lot.
I would say.
Yeah. It was. You never know what's gonna happen. That's what they would always say.
That's the best way to put it.
Like, you never know what's gonna happen in a Lafia's match. Like he could have the best match of his life and just destroy the other guy 1-on-1, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was 15, I think I played my first 25K here in Canada, in Calgary, and I qualified and won a round. And I think I took Diego Hidalgo or something to 3 sets in the second round. I think he's top 50 in doubles right now.
Yeah.
And he ended up that year, I think he finished around the top, like, 250 or so in singles.
Yeah, I was about to say he's very good in singles as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can have those matches, but then, like, Calgary the next year, I played a guy, I forget his name, but he had, like, the two, not the two-handled. Did he have I think he did have the two-handled racket.
What's this guy's name?
And I lost to him. I beat him in the first set 6-0. I think I lost 4 points in the first set.
Okay.
And then I don't know what happened, but just mentally.
Battistone? Could it be something? Battistone?
No, it wasn't Brian Battistone. He has the double hand, but it was a different guy. It was a Canadian guy.
Okay.
Really older guy. When I played him, he was like 34, 35.
Okay.
And I ended up losing 7-5 in the third. No way. No disrespect to this guy, whoever you are. Obviously, I don't mean to disrespect you, but like there is absolutely no way I just would have lost that match.
Yeah.
But mentally, I just after the first set, I won it 6-0, and then I lost. I think I lost one game in the second set, and I was like, oh come on, can't get a 6-0, 6-0. All right, pack it up. We go home. It's a wrap. So so that's kind of what you could expect from me. I remember one time in Jamaica, I was playing a semifinal against Camilo Hugo Carabelli, and that was my 7th semifinal in a row. I had lost all of the previous 6, yet to get my first title. And then in that one, I had played a Jamaican guy earlier in the week, and I destroyed him, using my signature mixture of just pure disrespect and athleticism. Apparently, I didn't know about this until later, but apparently one of the referees was related to him in some way.
Okay.
And that referee was my referee for the semifinal. Now, I'm not going to say that was the reason why, because, again, I was young, so I made a lot of inferences back then that I might not have made now, but this one seemed to be pretty clear-cut to me. This woman was making all kinds of calls against, like, the entire. They had a little row of kids in the front. They had like 2 rows of kids in the front, and the kids even were like wondering what's going on. So I'm getting madder and madder. The guy's playing well too. Like Carabelli, he's a good player, man. And so I end up losing like 4-6 or something, right? I finished the match. I go up. I shake, Carabelli's hand. I'm like, great match, man. You played well. Cause he cool. We cool. And I turn the ref and I flip off the ref, take my racket and throw it out of the stadium. My racket threw it out of the stadium. I just walked off the court. I was like, I was wandering around the streets of Kingston for like an hour. I was like, damn, I can't really go back now because I just stormed off the court. I left my stuff there.
Wait, so you just walked off, left everything?
I just walked off the court. Yeah, I left everything on the court.
Where was Pops?
Honestly, I don't know. I do not know at the time.
You wouldn't have been able to do that if Pops was there.
Yeah. No, he would have found me quick, man. Oh man, but yeah. So they actually, I lost out on my chance at the U.S. Open that year because of that. So they ended up suspending me for that one from ITF for about 3 months.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
That adds up.
I am a lot more mature now, but maybe I shouldn't have flipped her off, but like, man, I know y'all have had one of those matches where the referee just straight like going crazy.
I didn't have one with the referee, but I had one with like one of these college teams. I was playing in Harlingen, Texas. I was playing qualies. Okay. Man, I don't remember what was happening, but I think I won the first, serving for the second.
Yeah.
And like maybe I'm tied or something. I don't know. I end up losing the second, but I lose it by like second serve double fault where it hits the top of my racket and goes over the fence,
Oh no.
and the teammates of the guy goes crazy.
Really?
Yeah, crazy.
Oh,
And I just look over. I do the exact same as you. I look over, I just go, like, to yeah. But I end up coming back and winning that match. But it was qualities of the future, so there was no referees around. Like, no one saw.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
fair.
it would have been a little bit different now.
Of course,
Yeah.
naturally.
But also probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, kids, don't flip off your opponent and or the referee. Look, I've learned now that the referees are just they trying to do their job. Sometimes they really don't do it that well, but then again, to be fair, I'll be playing terrible sometimes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I've made it a habit now to try and tell referees when I do good as well.
yeah.
Like if I play a match and the referee did good, I let them know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I did that in Trinidad this year after I gave the referees some shit like for a few matches.
Really.
And then there was one match where the person did very good.
Yeah.
So I let the referee know, hey, you were
Yeah.
very good today. And they took it as disrespect. They thought I was being
No.
sarcastic or something when I was just being genuine, but
Yeah.
whatever, it happens.
Understandable.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, why did you end up going to Cornell? What was the reason for picking Ivy League?
Yeah.
Because I saw that you were number 3 in your recruiting class.
Yes, yes,
Your,
I
like
was.
what your senior year of high school.
Was it your choice?
I was just about to say, see earlier answer. I was talking to Illinois. Shout out Brad Dancer, you know what I'm saying. But I was talking to Illinois, my undergrad, because that was where I played. They gave us a wild card, me and Danny Thomas, to the Champaign Challenger in doubles, and we ended up winning
good,
around
man.
there.
Yeah, he was very good.
Like, yeah, he still. I mean, he could be, man. Like that was one of the biggest disappointments for me was seeing him stop tennis and stuff like that. He was good, man. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but I was talking with Illinois a lot. I was actually talking with Georgia Tech. Shout out Chris Eubanks. He's doing well out there.
Wimbledon quarters.
Yeah. He was getting on the recruiting with me, man. Like, he was getting on the recruiting back then, but and I really did like both of those. I actually, given the choice, I probably would have gone to Illinois undergrad. That was about this close to committing. And,
Can't go closer than that.
Yeah. And my dad decided. He said, "Look, you got in, because that was a big deal for us. I mean, my brother had already graduated from Harvard at that point, and and obviously my parents went to Santa Clara, which is a very good school, and so education is a huge priority for them. Even though I personally think Illinois has one of the best computer science programs in the world. They have one of like 3, I think, at the time anyway. I mean, maybe they have more now, but at the time it was like one of 3 supercomputers in the world. They had an entire room that was just a computer.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I was looking at it like, okay, this is perfect. They got what I'm gonna study. They have the best in that. They got one of the best tennis teams in the country right now, and I think they ended up making Final Four. The year I would have been a freshman, and they've got a good coach, Brad. Brad.
What year was that?
That was 2017. 2017 to 2018 was my
Okay.
freshman year, and so I was thinking it checks all the boxes. I went on my official visit. The boy showed me a good time. Alex knows what I'm talking. Kovacevic, he was out there. It was, it was a good time. It was a really good time, and I was convinced. I was convinced that
This is my
You
new home.
decided already.
Yeah. I was like, this seems like the place for me. But my dad told me, I should try one year. He gently suggested that I try. At Cornell, he was like, you gotta try it, at least 1 year. Yeah, so
Like I said, gently.
Jenny suggests you try 1 year, and he spent 4.
it's 5 actually.
The COVID year.
Yep, was the COVID year. So
God.
yeah, so that's how I ended up I ended up being committed to Cornell, and I think I don't actually think I went on a visit before I was committed there, because the first time that I went there was in 2017. Right before the U.S. Open juniors, right before my last junior tournament, I went there to train for about a week, and I had already committed there, and I didn't know any of the guys on the team at all. I actually came in the spring of 2017, or sorry, the spring of 2018. I came in the spring of 2018, and I'd met 3 of the guys on the team. I didn't know anyone on the team. I knew Silvio kind of because, like, you know, Silvio's a great recruiter. He's got to be. It's you know, I mean, it's tough to sell a program when you can't offer them an athletic scholarship for sure. But like, he's a great recruiter, so obviously I know him. But yeah, it was definitely a shock for me, like going there the first time in the spring. I don't know if you guys have been to Ithaca in the winter.
Freezing cold.
Yeah, it's rough. Coming from California, it is very rough. And then at the end of the semester, I actually met this girl that I was like convinced was the love of my life. My girlfriend knows about that, so like, yeah, I already told her, you know, everything. And you know, I was convinced, man. I was like, you know, I'm for sure gonna marry this girl, like all kinds.
Now we know why you stayed the 4 years.
Yeah. I was like, you know, he said, you know, what do you think? Like, you think you go back for another year? I was like, yeah,
you can go back.
I guess. I could. I guess so. You know, give it a shot. You know.
I mean, the school's good.
Yeah. Like, you know. And I won a 25K my first year with Cornell.
Okay. Which one?
The one up in Niagara.
Okay.
In 2018. I won Niagara.
Canada's been good to you.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Was that the indoor one?
Yes, it was.
And the week after was Toronto.
That's
I played those,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Roy Smith played those. Max Cressy played qualifying of that tournament.
Yeah.
A couple of other guys that are.
Evan and AJ. I was with Evan and AJ at those ones.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Did you like Cornell?
That's a good question.
And how was it balancing the academics with the tennis? Was it tough?
It was tough. That was
harder
really
than
tough.
childhood.
Tough
or?
for you. You've been doing that since you were 12.
Yeah. But even for me, I went into college with a huge academic chip on my shoulder because I don't know how to explain this, but even though I did fail, I failed PE. I failed
what?
Yeah, PE in high school. I failed English 1-2. I failed history, intro history, of course.
And you got into Cornell.
Yeah, but the reason why I failed those classes is because I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. Like I had actually already read the AP history textbook cover to cover before I started my history class. And so
you just was lazy to do the work when you knew everything already?
Like, she knows, the teacher knows I know this. I know I know this. So, like, what's, you know.
We're wasting time,
yeah. Like, just give me the A. Let's get on with it. You know what I mean? Like, let's get on with it. And I didn't realize this wasn't an AP. So, like, AP classes, you can kind of do that. That's what I would do for the AP class. Like, AP Calc, I probably showed up to AP Calc. I'm sorry, Mrs. Lou. Miss Lou was my teacher in AP Calc. I showed up probably, I want to say 42 days in the year to that class. And I ended up with an A in it because I got a 5 on the AP test.
Okay.
So that's
so you just assumed you could just take the test at the end of the year and do
I'll be fine. I didn't realize I didn't have that for like regular classes. So I failed out of the regular class. So I just didn't even take English anymore. I took AP English. And
what did Pop say?
Oh, he wasn't happy. No, he was not happy.
Can't imagine
that. Yeah. That was
He was gentle.
Yep. Very gentle. Gave me a very, very soft reprimanding. But no, so that was. He was happy though because all the hard classes I was passing with flying colors. So like. You know, as long as he knows that his son's not dumb, like I feel like that's the important thing.
The main
you know
thing.
what I mean? Like, so and I ended up, I think I got like I got a 1560 out of 1600 on the SAT.
That is craziness.
And so I had a couple of extracurriculars as well. I was working on a program. Obviously, this never actually came to fruition, but I was working on a program with my mom that would hopefully create a VR version of tennis. Based on, so like I didn't know how to scrape data at the time, but
what does that mean?
It means
you don't
like,
know what that means? Scraping data?
Am I just talking? That's like with the Cornell too. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
So scraping data is basically it's gleaning information from a site.
Obviously.
You can use the sites like basic. It's kind of it's pretty. Okay, I don't want to say simple because that would sound condescending, but It's out of the.
Cameras off, bro. Give this man a gentle reminder.
So you just put the site's URL into your code, and it'll automatically. I mean, not automatically. You have to do a little bit of work, but it will take all the information from that site, and then you can format that information in any way that you kind of wish.
You helped us without any. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Move on.
So, you ever hear somebody say a lot and a little at the same time?
You said nothing to me just now.
All right. Well, anyway.
VR.
So I was gonna use the data from the ATP tour.
Okay.
They have Infosys and they have IBM, so they have a lot of data on like average serve speed, even the spots that you hit the ball, your average spin on the ball, first serve percentage facing break points, second serve percentage facing break points. They have a lot of really interesting information on there that obviously anyone, I guess. Well, not anyone because it's copyright, which I learned very quickly. They're not going to allow you to take that information for free. They're not going to allow it for free. But if you had access to it, then you can do a lot with that information. And I think people are starting to do that actually, and create VR versions of tennis.
Yeah. I've seen the one where they the people wear the goggles and they have like a little. It looks like a racket, but it's like small. What is that? Court Sense? Or something like that. It's
a VR remote. I don't know what exactly the company is called. But the VR remote is the toughest part, and I'm not a mechanical engineer, so I don't know very much about how to simulate the weight of a racket.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. How to simulate the actual act of hitting the ball without something physical touching the racket is next to impossible.
That's what I was thinking. Like when I saw that, I was wondering how, because they say you can play tennis from anywhere or whatever. It's like a great training tool, but like how do you adjust the weight of the racket to be what you want?
Right. Exactly.
And then how does it like the impact of the ball against the string.
Yeah, because like when you just swing through the air, this but like when you swing through the air, instead of swinging and hitting the ball with intent to hit the ball, it's a different swing. Yeah. No matter how much you try to make it the same.
Because like you speed up and slow down at certain times in the swing, so the impact point and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we know this stuff.
Yeah.
I have one question, bro.
What's up?
So, I saw you in college maybe once or twice, but we were at this college tournament in Indian Wells.
Ah, yes.
Right. So there's like a banquet. There's a banquet before. I don't know if it's before or during the tournament. And is that the guy who owns Oracles? Yep. One of his places is kind of NDA. It's like a serious thing. Yes. Yeah. Every team is dressed to impress. Like people got on suits.
Oh yeah, big time.
People got on dress shirts with the slacks with the shoes. Everybody dressed nice.
Yep. And then I pull
looking around. I see my boy Alafia walk up. Hey, Alafia. I don't know what he had on. He had on maybe the Cornell shirt, and then the slacks.
The sweats.
And my boy had on. He had on A6 tennis shoes tied.
The red and black ones. That's right. That's right.
Did you not know there was going to be a banquet? Or was this your attire at Cornell on a daily basis? You walked around in the A6.
Let me answer your story with another story. I will tell you of the time that I met the French ambassador to the U.S.
Oh, God.
So, we were at the French Open Juniors in 2017, and we knew we were supposed to meet. Like, my dad, my mom, my whole family was there. That was the first time my whole family had been in a tournament in my life. And they came to watch me play the French Open. I was 27 in the world at the time, feeling great, et cetera, et cetera. My dad knows that we have this banquet. It's it's some sort of thing between the USTA and the French Federation or something. That it's definitely supposed to be formal. We know this going.
You've been told.
Yes. Yeah. He decides that 2 hours before the banquet is a great time to start a practice.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Let's get better.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, don't worry, it's only 1 hour. We're gonna finish. We're gonna have enough time to go back. He didn't take into account the fact that, one, he's African, so 1 hour in African time is actually an hour and a half.
At least.
At least. And two, this is Paris, France. So anything that you think is going to take a short amount of time in France they will find no offense if you French and watching this, but come on, let's be honest, it's true. They will find a way to make it longer, more painful, and just really inconvenient. You know what I mean? Hey, that is the Parisian way. You know what I mean?
That's the culture.
Will find a way. They will go out of their way to make it more difficult for you. You know what I mean? Like, just because
ruin their day to ruin yours.
Exactly. And then they'll say, "You ruined my day. I can't believe it." You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's crazy. Anyway, I'm segueing though.
I really did.
Anyway, so like basically we finished the practice. It's like at that point it's like 20 minutes until we gotta be there. So we decide we gotta go because like the transport's like, okay, we can take you there, but it's gonna take like half an hour. So we get there 10 minutes late. I show up with my Lotto sweatshirt, slacks, just straight up like these, basically these. I show up looking like this. Everyone else has a suit on. My dad shows up with the duffel bag. Hey, the cap, like the 10-year-old cap that he always wears. You know what I mean? Like just. They're looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger walking in.
But you're sending a message. Everyone knows this man means business this week.
Yeah. But how do you feel?
I definitely meant business.
In and out, quick. Yeah. But how do you feel in these situations? Like at the banquet or at this thing? You don't care, or is it?
At the end of the day, not really. To be completely honest, I would rather be there in formal dress. But
it is
at
what
the
it
end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, who am I really trying to impress out here? You know what I mean? Like, at the banquet, all the players know me. They know who I am. So I ain't really got to impress them. The French ambassador, I could bet like my entire prize money for my entire career that guy does not know who I am right now.
Or remember that even happened
at all.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, how much do you really lose? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't mind, and that is my.
Funny.
I had a similar
stories.
situation. My senior year in school, we had the banquet for the conference championships. We were in Michigan, and I think I got an award. Like I was like second team or something. Yeah. So like I was one of the. They call a name and you have to go up and get the award.
Yeah.
But we're packing up, like we're getting ready for the banquet. So all of us have suits. So we put on our suits, whatever. Right. Then it's time to put on my shoes, and I go and I'm like, I don't see my dress shoes.
Really?
The only shoes I have are tennis shoes and bright pink Jordans.
Oh no!
So I'm wearing a suit and bright pink Jordans, like basketball shoes. And then I get the award, like when they call my name to walk up. Oh, so when we sit at the banquet at the table, you don't sit with your team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sit us like random. So like I'm assigned the table, so I'm sitting at the table with 8 people, and it's like maybe 1 or 2 other coaches, then 1 or 2 players from another team, men and women. Really? So like I'm sitting with all strangers I don't know. Wow. I get the award, I get up and I start walking, and one of my teammates goes, "Nice shoes, Jody." And then now everyone looked down at my feet, and I have to smile and take a picture with Jordan.
I wonder what's going on. Yeah, but that's how I was. I actually made a point of like wearing sweatpants every single day. I think I wore it every day for about 4 years.
Why?
Just cause they're more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like what? Why would you go through life making yourself uncomfortable to look good for someone when you could be comfortable and it's not gonna cost you anything extra? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense at all?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah,
but I'm with it.
Yeah,
I'm with it. So yeah, moving on to
Kentucky, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you end up at Kentucky? Like, what was the process like? Like I guess you played the COVID year at Cornell.
No, actually, I didn't. We didn't get a COVID. Well, we did, but it's kind of complicated. So when COVID happened, everyone got an extra year. But the year after COVID, when everyone else played, the Ivy Leagues didn't.
Oh, that's right.
So that was the extra year that I used. I used my COVID, or I guess I don't know. Technically, I didn't use my COVID year. I just used my last year at Cornell.
Okay.
Because I was a senior. And then I used my COVID year at Kentucky because I had an extra year after that.
And why Kentucky?
That's a good question. So I only had a very short list in mind. I actually had only one school in mind before I entered the portal, and that was Ohio State.
What happened to Illinois at this point?
So Illinois had, they hadn't really done as well in the last couple of. I think 2018 was the last year that they really, really were kind of a force to be reckoned with. Maybe 2019 they were. I think Kova's senior year, they were pretty good. 'Cause they had Zeke as well. They had Alex Brown playing really good tennis. They had a couple other guys as well that I'm not remembering right now, but they had a really good team, especially indoors. But after that, when those guys left, it was really difficult for them to. I don't think their recruitment class wasn't like gigantic, and I think they might have put all of their eggs in one or two baskets, and those baskets ended up breaking or something. I'm not sure what happened, but the result was. I want to say this. I don't want to say this with any disrespect. Obviously,
I'm just joking.
I'm just
I'm just
saying
joking.
from a what's the word, from an impartial point of view.
Okay.
Like right there, the level, like how much do we fear Illinois went from about here to about here in the space of like 6 to 8 months. And so, when I was looking for my fifth year, I was looking for really, it was three things. The first thing is good coaching. The second thing is a super team. I'm KD right now, right? I'm looking for my Warriors. You know what I mean? I'm looking for exactly. I want a ring, right?
Yeah.
So like that's I'm thinking which school is going to give me the best chance to do that. And finally, I needed kind of financial support for when I turned pro. Obviously, they don't have athletic scholarships at Ivy League schools. But I think 1 year of having an athletic scholarship would give me enough time to save up money to support myself for at least a couple of months on tour, and I was right in that regard. Now, once I kind of went through the portal, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it was a miscommunication with Ohio State, but I think they were really happy to have me at first, and I don't know what happened after that. I mean, Ty didn't call me back.
I was say you're a traitor, bro. Like, aren't they rivals, Ohio State, Kentucky?
I mean, we didn't play them a single time this year.
Oh, really?
I mean, we did. They did have that grudge match at the end of.
That's what I'm saying. I thought when I was in school, I thought they didn't like each other.
I don't know about didn't like. I mean, I like all the guys in the Ohio State team. I think they're great guys, but I don't know. Nobody likes playing against Ohio State. Like, no one goes and says, "Oh, Ohio State, yeah." What I mean? Like, it's gonna be a fun match. No, it's gonna be a war. Like nobody wants that. But yeah, no, I don't think they're big. I think the big rivalry is between Ohio State and Michigan, and Ohio State and Illinois back when they were, bit better. And so so I was kind of narrowing it down. Ohio State didn't really contact me back after the initial kind of talk and everything, and then I narrowed it down to basically 3 SEC schools. So I was going between Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, and I made a Google document with 3 pages of notes on each school.
Scholar.
Different.
I was convinced because this was the first big decision that I was making on my own. I didn't really want my dad involved because, obviously he was very involved in the last time that I chose a college.
Gently.
And gently, of course, naturally. And so, so I was like, I need to make this decision on my own. And I was definitely afraid of like choosing the wrong place or something like that. So I did a lot of research on even the area around, the demographic and everything. How much support would I realistically be able to get? The team dynamic, who is on the team, what have they done in their past, et cetera, et cetera. The fitness aspect of it, who's the fitness coach, what is their program, what's their program focused on, are they going to allow
How do you find out this information?
Through visits. I went on official visits to all 3 places, and I asked a lot of questions. Obviously, I'm not going to divulge anyone's secrets or anything like that, but I will say Tennessee has probably the best facilities of any university in the country. Like just facility-wise, I mean their athletic dining hall is world class. I mean their gym is amazing. Like everything. It's just like brand new. It's like unbelievable. I probably shouldn't be saying that. We're rivals, right? But I gotta
we'll cut
give
this. All this will be cut out.
Gotta give respect where respect is due. You know what I mean? And they're good, and obviously Florida they definitely had the coaching part with Brian Shelton, one of the best coaches in college ever, I think, and one of the better coaches in the world, I think, right now. So So that was definitely something to consider. But when I went to Kentucky, even though I don't know if you know this, we only have 4 indoor courts.
Yeah, I
We
played
don't-
played
we
there.
don't even have 6. Yeah. I wouldn't say, I would hesitate to say that it's like the best facilities in the world, but their motto is blue collar. They get down and dirty and they work hard. And that's kind of what they showed me on the visit, that it was enough, like it was enough of a scholarship that I would be able to save enough money to go on tour. They had really good coaches. I think I really gelled with the coaches. The assistant coach, Matt Gordon.
I know Matt
is
from
probably-
Sutherbrook.
Yeah, I think he's unquestionably. Actually, well, it's a tie between him and Alex Funkhauser. I got shout out. Alex Funkhauser was my assistant coach at Cornell.
Okay.
Those two are the best assistant coaches in the country,
Okay.
hands down. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sue me. But that's just factual right there. And
He's
so-
playing it safe now.
yeah. But no, so
Cap.
nah. It's not that. Stop that. No, but so I trusted the coaches a lot to kind of take me in a good direction. I saw what they did with Gab, and that was a big part of my decision as well, was seeing Gab's growth. I remember I beat him actually the year before I decided to go to Kentucky. I played him in the Fall Nationals, and I beat him in the first round in straight sets. And the way that he played, I was practicing with him while I was visiting Kentucky, and the way that he played even then, 6 months later, was just miles ahead of where he was 6 months ago. I'm like, okay, this guy is improving at a huge rate. I can see that he's trusted the process. When he first came to Kentucky, he wasn't necessarily the highest recruit in the world, and now he's doing very well, and I can see him making a future for himself on tour. That's what I want, right? So I'm like, my game is similar, my build is similar. Let's get this done. You know what I mean? Let's make this happen. And as for the super team part, I mean, it speaks for itself. Yeah. Myself, Gab, Liam Draxel, Josh Lapadat, Taha Body, Jaden Weeks, Charlie Cosney.
These my naming all Canadians.
I mean,
Canadian Davis Cup team.
Team Canada plus me.
Oh shoot, for real?
Yeah, literally all Canadians.
Yeah, they're
all
everyone on the lineup except for me and Charlotte were Canadian. And if Gab had come back, then I would have been the only non-Canadian.
You know he was leaving or no?
So that's a funny story about that. I take partially the blame. I know he's not going to agree with me, but I think I'm to blame for him leaving. I played him in the semifinals of a challenger in Fairfield, and I kind of knew in the back of my mind going into that match, if he wins that match, then there's almost no chance that he comes back, and he shouldn't come back if he wins that match against me. But if he loses, then he because I think if he won, he was going to be into Australian Open qualifying.
Okay.
So like that's a big deal. You can't really turn that down.
I say no to that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, all right, well, I gotta win this match. I got destroyed. Way too much pressure on
myself. Obviously.
He improved.
Yeah.
He's been improving still. The race is not slowed down.
I honestly don't think either of us played that well in that match, because we both had a lot of nerves going into it and a lot of expectations. But he managed the match a little bit better than me and came out on top. And yeah, so I think that was the biggest reason why he turned pro. We all kind of knew it was happening as soon as he won Granby. We're like, okay, well, I mean, he might come back, but I don't think I've ever heard of someone winning a challenger and staying in college before. So the chances that it was going to happen were already slim. And then the second final just kind of cemented it in place. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was rough, but I was thinking, at the time when I was being recruited, I was like, me, Gab, Liam, 1, 2, 3. We have Liam, who was number 1 in the country his freshman year, top 500 in the world. Gab, top 500 in the world. Me, top 500 in the world. With all of us with titles on the pro tour. All of us, having been top 20 in the country.
Is that something that they were thinking about too?
Oh, for sure. I mean, everyone was thinking about it for sure. As soon as I committed to Kentucky, I think that was the biggest thing, is like, okay, well, now this is going to be a team. It already was a team. They made the final the year before, and they're adding on, this. I don't want to push my own like pump my own buttons or whatever.
How'd you guys do this year?
We lost in the quarterfinal. We did.
We did.
Yep. We lost to Virginia. Actually, we
Yeah,
ended up winning
tough.
the whole thing,
Okay.
and we lost 4-2. I think we were the only people to take more than one point off of them at Orlando, or actually in the whole tournament. They destroyed everyone else, and we actually had a really good chance. We were down 3-1. I won my match against Iñaki, got it to 3-2. We were up a break in both of the final two matches in the third sets of both of the final two matches. And yeah, it was kind of a brutal ending, but like, you know, I'm super proud of the guys. Like everyone fought their asses off. So, I mean,
do you feel like it was worth it, like in terms of your career, like what you were discussing before, like with all the research and stuff that you did for how your personal development would be? Was it worth it, you think, to go to Kentucky?
100%. I think that a lot of my false success can be attributed to Kentucky. They worked a lot on my game and just not shoring up, but like making my weaknesses into strengths a little bit more. And I mean, they allowed me to travel, which was a big thing. I don't think most colleges allow that. For honestly, I don't know. I don't even know if they will offer that. You know, it's kind of like a special case because of.
I was seeing you on lists, and I was like, why is this man? He don't have school. He don't have nothing to do.
I fully had classes. I was telling the professor, look, I'm in Chile.
What's up?
I can't make it to class. But no, they were really accommodating, very, very accommodating of professional schedule. Yeah. You know, given that obviously if you're 1,300 in the world and you can't be out going to futures every week, but like if you're at a point where, you know, like for me or for Drax, or I think Drax took the fall off, but for Gab as well, you know, it was perfect for us to be able to kickstart our pro careers. That's one, I think. Going to Kentucky was one of the best choices that I made.
Good.
To be honest.
And like we said before, like you're, at least the way I've seen you, you've been like an up and down guy. Like great results, really bad results, whatever.
For sure.
But I think what we noticed was last summer you seem to have like more consistent success.
For sure.
What kind of changed for you going into that summer?
My approach to the game and my approach to the game and like my approach to myself.
You need some Pellegrino.
Pellegrino. Gotta give me some of that. My approach to the game changed completely. There was a time where I lost. I remember I lost in the first round of Santo Domingo 25K to Noah Schachter, who is a very good player. But I was up serving for the match at 5-2.
This man's shooting strays at everybody
all
day.
Yeah.
It's all good. That's what it's about.
I mean, he knows. That was a turnaround for me. Like I played against him serving for the match 5-2 in the third, and I start full body cramping. And you know, this may seem normal to you, but like for me, I've never full body cramped before. I'm in pretty decent shape. And
Normal to me? Why normal to me?
What? You should check. You know. Damn, is it still raining outside?
No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, you got me there. That's well played. That's well played. No, but so I was like, obviously I lost that match. I couldn't even serve. I lost at 5 in the third, and I'd lost in the first round the previous week. And I was like, man, like, you know, this is going nowhere. I was dropping out of the top 1,000 in about 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, you know, this is not going to end well for me. I ended up going back to LA, training with my coach at the time, Patrick Ayeni, and he had like just grueling fitness, grueling stuff. Like, and I was like, all right, you know, physically I'm ready, but mentally I don't know if I am, and I started thinking about who I am as a player, like who I really am. And I think the biggest difference for me was once I started playing, I made a decision after that Santo Domingo tournament that the type of player that I am, I'm an aggressive player. I'm coming into the net. I'm hitting big serves. I'm hitting big returns. And I'm okay with losing that way. That was the most important thing for me, was that I needed to be okay with losing while playing in that way, in my identity as a tennis player. And I did lose. After that tournament, I went and I played.
I kept losing.
Yeah,
and it didn't work.
Yeah. Lost first round in France. Lost first round in Spain. Then I went to Kazakhstan, lost first round in Kazakhstan. Actually, I lost 6-2, 6-0 first round in Kazakhstan. Then the second week, I also lost first round.
Fully committed to the identity.
Yep. And I'm like, I'm okay
Did that
with
test your like faith in the identity? Like, did you think,
big
were you
time,
second guessing if
I
that's
was-
what you should be doing and so?
After the like 6th or 7th one, yeah, I was like, man, maybe this identity ain't for me.
Maybe it's the wrong identity.
Who am I?
I was struggling, man. But then the last loss, I was like, okay, now I'm getting closer because I played the 4 seed in the 25K. This Japanese guy, I forgot his name, but good player. He had just come off of winning 2 15Ks in a row, and so he was kind of on a hot streak. I played against him, played terrible the first set. Came back from down 5-0 and I lost 6-3 or something like that. Second set, I came back from down 5-2 in the second set, won the second set 7-6, and then came back from down 4-0, came back all the way to 4-all in the third set, and then lost 6-4. And I was just, obviously that's a terrible, like, tough loss to take for anyone. But at the same time, I was thinking, this guy is winning futures. Like, he's winning every week. Like, this at the time, I think he was like 32 and 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, now I think I can have like sort of like a standing ground. I've proved myself against this guy. Then I played the challenger the next week in Kazakhstan, and I had one of my good friends, Jay Clark, was there, and he's at the time was very well established, like top 200 in the world, very very good challenger player, and I practiced with him a lot. And I was playing him, and he's not gonna be happy to hear this, but I was beating him, and I was like, wow, okay, this actually works, I'm just like, I'm hitting bombs and just coming forward, and it was working. I was like, okay, I can do this. And first round, I played a double specialist with absolutely no ranking. So all the pressure, obviously, I'm like, all right, this is the one guy where, probably rushing the net wouldn't work because he's seen that all the time in doubles, So I was a little bit doubtful in my mind, but I still tried to do it. Sure enough, the guy's passing shots were just money that day. He ended up serving for the match. He had 6 or 7 match points, and I ended up finally like pulling out. I think it was 7-5 in the third or something like that. I barely won that one, yeah. And that's when it clicked for me. That's when things started changing. So I won that round. I qualified for the main draw. Won my first round 6-1, 6-0 in the main draw. And then I played Safalin, who I think is top 50 now in the quarters of the Wimbledon, yeah. And I did lose. I think I lost 4-5. But I had a lot of opportunities in that match. And this is a guy who's very well established. I knew he was going to be top 100 at the time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going competitive with guys who are playing on tour. So I think that I have a good chance to make it with playing this type of style of tennis. So my dad called me after the match. He's like, hey, you got into Winnipeg. You sure you want to play it because you're in Kazakhstan right now? I'm like, say less. Let's do it.
You flew straight from Kazakhstan to Winnipeg?
From Kazakhstan that night at 2 a.m., flew to Winnipeg, played the next day against Mike Pervolarakis, Greek guy, very very good guy, very nice guy. He was up 5-1 in the first set against me, and had 7 set points. Again, I think I ended up pulling that one out. I won that match. I qualified for the main draw. I beat Michael Moe in the first round in straight sets by coming forward, by being the type of player that I envisioned for myself. And then beat Kyle Edmund in the second round. I lost a tight one to Evan in the quarters.
That's not what you said about him yesterday.
Great player.
Yesterday he's like, lost to some bum. Lost to some bum.
Shout out Izu.
Easy. Easy knows us all love. Actually, I think I stayed at his house when I was a kid back in the day.
See that?
You a hater, though.
See what these people say about you?
Cut these cameras off, man.
So I lost to Evan. That was brutal. That was kind of heartbreaking for me, to be honest, because like I really thought I could, do like I thought I could win that tournament.
Yeah.
And in the moment, obviously, you think crazy things. And Evan was having a great week. I think he was just he was fathering all of the Kentucky players that week.
That was the week that he
beat
saved a bunch of match points against
he saved a
Drexel.
ton of match points against Liam. And
Slapping
then he beat
backhand
me.
winners.
Fully lose. And I was up a break in the third against him as well, and he ended up winning that one. So I mean, that was a good week. But yeah, I made the quarterfinals, and I was like, things started clicking, and I qualified I think every week that I played that summer, and most of the weeks in the fall, all the weeks except for one. I think I might have set the record that year for most challenger qualifying wins. Yeah,
that's
I
good.
was like 22-1.
But it didn't. So it sounds like it didn't take you right away. Like as soon as you made the decision that that's your identity, it didn't take you right away to just change. It was like you had to commit to it, and then hopefully it paid off. And then it was like, I guess, kind of a mixture of like preparation and luck in a way, like to play a double specialist in the first round qualies.
That was very lucky.
Yeah,
Yes.
but then again, like you got through it. Like you took care of business. You got through it. You were prepared, I guess, and then keep going.
So yeah.
What are those nights like? Like let's say the fifth first round loss in a row, thinking you're trying to do the right thing.
Are you trying to put the man into?
No, I'm just curious, like, because he's past it now. I hope. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, it is tough right now because I've lost quite a few challenger matches in a row now, but they've all been against player. Like I lost to Giowitz and he ended up making semifinals. I lost to School Kate last week and he made semifinals. Like it's not like I'm losing to bums out here, you know what I mean?
Like Evan.
Like Evans. I'm playing. Yeah. No, but so that it's easier to swallow for sure. But at the time, when I was losing a lot of matches to guys that I didn't think I should lose to, those nights were tough. But I would always I wrote down, I still have the journal in there. I still do that after every match. I would write down 2 things that I did well in the match. I would write 2 things I did well and 1 thing that I needed to improve. So that way I would always kind of be looking for the positives in how I played, even if I lost. Like, oh, okay, well I came forward. I stuck to my game plan. I came forward. Even though I didn't execute the volleys that well, but I did keep the strategy and I stayed calm. I didn't, no brackets broken today. Yeah,
that's a positive.
That's a positive. We'll take it.
It's on the good list. Check.
Yeah.
Ask Jody about that.
That's the old me.
Yeah. So trying to view things in a positive lens, because I mean I've struggled in the past, even I think during the COVID year, when Cornell wasn't playing tennis at all. I lived in France that year, and in that year, that was a really difficult year for me, and I was struggling a lot with mental issues, with depression and stuff, and it was difficult for me to get out of that. I was losing a lot of matches. Obviously, I had a surgery on my wrist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was pretty brutal that year. But one thing that I learned from that is to kind of trying to frame things in a positive view, and there's always going to be something, some small thing. It might be the smallest thing possible, but there's something that you can take positive from every negative situation, and finding that positive. The better you get at finding that positive, the less than the negative situation will affect you. So I kind of took that to the bank, and that's what I used when I was losing those matches. It was really, really rough, but I mean, even my parents will tell you, because we had a lot of talks, and I love my parents, but they definitely are happier when I'm winning a lot of matches than if I'm on a 7-match losing streak. So, and you can tell,
the conversation's a little bit different.
They sound a little prouder of you.
Yeah, exactly. So I was having conversation with my parents, and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with losing this match. I told them that. I'm like, I don't think I played the wrong way. I executed. Maybe I had some execution errors, but I think I played the right way. I just lost the match. They didn't like that at all, because I kept saying that every time I lost. Every time I lost, I would say the same thing. I played the right way. And they're like, obviously you're not playing the right way if you're still losing. But yeah, so it ended up paying off. Yeah,
that's good. Do you want to check, see if you got any messages for any questions?
Sure.
We have some questions here too. In the meanwhile, I'm definitely gonna.
Oh no! Wait, guess who replied to my story? Evans
The ex-girlfriend?
Evan Zoo said DJ Law.
You're gonna love this episode.
Let's go with this. I'm gonna butcher this name. Xiao Zin. Hopefully that's how you say the name on YouTube. Asked, changeovers must be very important in tennis. So they're talking about obviously the name, our name.
Yeah.
What usually goes through your mind during changeovers?
Oh, well, that depends on what the score is during the changeover. Because, you know, you sit down after just losing the break. You were up a break and you lose the break. You're like, oh, man, now I got to break this dude again. You know what I mean? Like,
Did all that for nothing?
Yeah. It's a lot of it's about managing your emotions on the changeover. Because you got to, first of all, you got to hydrate. Hydrate or dihydrate. That's what my friends always say. You know,
that's a poor one.
That's a new one for me.
But you know, like, so after you hydrate, the thing that I'm thinking is like regulating my breathing is one of the most important things. It's kind of like a mini meditation session almost. Like you get there and you're shrinking. You're like, okay, let's take stock. Where are we right now? Okay, I just got broke.
Time.
All right. Yeah, I mean, but my favorite changeovers actually are the ones before my opponent serves for the match, which is it's kind of funny because I actually said this stat
You a wild
last
boy.
week, and yeah,
Maybe my worst. Hate this part of the match.
Like, cause you know, like I was talking about, like I was thinking about it. Right, because before last week happened, the school case, he served out the match against me. You know, fuck like, yeah, no, well, it wasn't that comfortable. It was there was one point I remember I was like 15-all, and I hit an amazing passing shot.
Okay.
And he like hit a shank volley that bounced and then came back over the net. And yeah, so that was rough. But he ended up serving out the match. But every player that I've played in the last, I want to say since Little Rock, so the last month. 5 matches that I've lost, and in all 5 of them, no one has served out the match against me successfully, because the way that I see it, right, my serve is that good that like I'm thinking about things the same way that they are. So like I know if I play a good server, and like let's say I play one of you guys, because I know you guys got big serves, right? I break you once, and I get broken back, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta try and break this dude again now. Like, you know, like it was hard enough doing it once.
You're thinking of it as like, if you get this break, then the momentum's on you
I
now.
have all the momentum, exactly. So like that's why I think, for me, I've always found it like less stressful to be behind, just because I know that if I get that break back, it's gonna be in their head. Yeah. And there was one match where I was down a set in 5-1, like just getting tuned up. I was like 6-2, 5-1 or something like that, and you know, and I just kind of found a little bit of like a mental like deficiency there. He's serving for the match. He got a little soft, you know. He gave me a couple second serves that I teed off on, and I got away with it, you know. And I got one break back, and then I held at love with like 3 aces, and now all the pressure is on him to serve out that second one. Because if he doesn't serve out that second one, you saw what happened the last time. Right? It's not happening again. You know? So and you know, and it makes life much more difficult for your opponent. If you think about things in that way, it makes life so much easier for yourself. Yeah. Like I realized that like a couple of years ago. I'm thinking about this all wrong. Like, man, this is a terrible situation for me, but like.
Pressure's on his side.
Exciting opportunity.
Possibilities, you know what I mean? Imagine the possibilities.
It's true.
Yeah.
Let's go with this one. Question from Jonathan on Instagram. If you were king for the day, what rules would you make on the tour?
On the tour?
Yeah,
Ooh.
like rule changes could you make?
Rule changes. That's a good question, actually. You know what I would do? I'll say you could wear whatever you want at the All England Club. You know what I mean? I don't like that all white thing.
All white?
Yeah, it's got, like,
tradition.
Yeah.
I like that though. It's exciting to have to like get special clothes to go there. Like,
I guess I don't know. I just never.
You're gonna put up the center coat and the black sweats.
Yeah.
And the goggles
and the red Asics.
I would change that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I would change. I would probably change like the rule. There's a rule where. I recently got shafted by this, but there's a rule where if you make it directly into one tournament, you automatically get withdrawn from another one. And that
Man.
was really tough for me because I really wanted to play the Newport ATP 250
Yeah.
next
week.
next week, and because I got directly in on
Granby.
the first list in Granby, they automatically withdrew me, and I would have been, I think, 8 out of the qualifying draw, which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
You know what
This
I
is
mean?
a bit more like, I guess we didn't expect to go here with this question. It's less fun, but like that
Yeah.
is so annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like the entry system is so annoying between, not that I at 1,000 I can't get into ATPs, but like
No, but
just
still.
the challenges and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's the same way from ATPs to challenges to futures. It's so
For
annoying for everybody. I
For
don't think
sure,
there's one
yeah.
person who says that they like how that system is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I think they should unify the
Yeah,
ITF,
exactly.
the ATP, like all that stuff. Like they just make it one entity. That'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have anything on that one?
Oh, I agree. I would
Nice. Okay.
I would I would what do you say, consolidate, unify, put it together. Yeah, that.
Last question is, how do you feel about seeing Stack Attack in the second round this week if you make it through?
Stack Attack, man. Marcos Stakuzic. We had a battle over in Calgary a couple months ago last year, and this dude like got a cannon. Lefty dude got a cannon, so it's definitely gonna be a tough one. I got to get past my first round first, but like it's definitely. I'm not thrilled, especially since he's playing against one of my former teammates in the first round. So he got to get past Evan Bino first. Shout out Bino. That was our captain. My senior year.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions on my phone. You have anything else for Alafia? Anything else you want to cover today?
Yeah, I just I wanted to plug my budding nonprofit. I have a company called Team 3X. We started about a year ago, and we're still obviously we're still looking for funding to start up. But what we want to do is provide opportunities for people of color, minorities to play in tennis, because historically I think it's been a very underrepresented sport. And even in the U.S., black people were not allowed to play tennis until, I believe, around the 1960s or 1970s. And even then, it was it's very frowned upon. I don't know if you know when Arthur Ashe wasn't allowed to play Grand Slams until he was over 30, I believe.
That's true. Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that, for me as an ambassador of tennis, I think I owe it to my community to try and help them out in any way I can, and that would be by offering grants for kids, for juniors, on an application basis, for them to travel for tournaments and stuff like that. I think that would be a great idea to have like maybe 3 or 4 per year. Just give out grants to these kids, and then having clinics as well, having exhibitions in Southern California. I think is a great way to give back to the community. And there's also one other thing that we're doing where we're kind of gathering all the, because a lot of the guys on tour, a lot of the guys that I know on tour anyway, have a lot of unused rackets, unused clothes from when they switch clothing sponsors. They have a ton of like brand new clothes, that they're not using really, and I want to take those clothes and give them back to the community.
Nice.
Give these kids a chance, to play in some new clothes, play in some with some new equipment, some new rackets, or at least gently used, gently reprimanded.
So if someone's watching and see this, how can they contact you or contact the nonprofit?
Yeah, so it's basically, so we have Instagram at Team X Team 3X official, and our email is team3xmanagement@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can send an email there. We also have a GoFundMe. I think it's linked on the Instagram page.
Okay.
Our website is team-3x.com, and we have I think our GoFundMe is linked there as well. Nice. And obviously like you can also reach out to me on my personal Instagram, and we can talk about ideas for collaboration or fundraising, or if you want to donate, obviously that would be fantastic. So whatever you can do to help, even if it's just like giving a can of balls, that would be fantastic.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All right. That's it, I think, for us today. As you can see from the weekly grind, we are in our hotel room because, should we talk a little bit? Just say how
Conference room situation?
Yeah. So we found out we were having, well, we didn't find out, we knew we were having Alafia on today. So we're in the hotel this week, the tournament hotel, because we couldn't find Airbnbs. So it's already running us a lot of money. And then we didn't really know where to do the podcast this week. So I called the front desk and they said, yeah, we have conference rooms available. You can have one. It's just $150 an hour, but you have to have
Very
it for
reasonable.
minimum 3 hours.
Very, very reasonable.
So I said on the phone, oh, okay, let me just talk to the guys and see if that's what we're going to do, and I'll call you back. I'll call you back when we decide. All right, thank you.
I have to reconsider.
After that, I was like, okay, we got to set up right here. So, but yeah, that's what it's about. This podcast is about to show that this is how it is for us on tour, but we make it happen. So,
That's right.
yeah, Alafia, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Are we doing this?
Oh, that was a good one. There's a lot of pressure on the dap, between two black people. It's gotta be right. If it's not popping,
I didn't cut that. The like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
share.
So thanks everyone for watching. We
Sponsor us.
yeah. Yeah. You want to do it? You do it this time. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you enjoy the content, the videos, please like, comment, subscribe, share it. And if anybody's looking to collaborate with us, sponsorships, anything like that, talk to Jody. He's going to be answering you with the changeover handle on Instagram. And
why don't you thank who is watching?
Yeah, and if you're watching, keep watching. We appreciate
I said
it.
thank them, not keep watching.
We appreciate it. And we're going to keep doing this every week. And
He's gonna improve.
yeah, love.